Yo, what's going on? Episode 4 of the Only in Cleveland podcast is here. And I had to get on here because I got a working theory about this Cavs team. As we all know, the Cavs got knocked out in the second round to the Celtics. And now the rumors are what are they going to do with JB? The time to move Darius? Is it time to trade Jared? Is Donovan going to resign or sign his extension, I should say? But my working theory is this. Feel free to question it. It's just a working theory. But we have to go back in time a little bit to start this working theory I have. Let's take us back to that dreadful game 82 of the Cavs regular season against the Hornets in Cleveland. Cavs have a home court locked up for the first round. They've been dealing with injuries in the second half. Donovan banged up. Darius, he's always banged up. They struggled, needless to say. They get to game 82. They decide Donovan's not playing. Darius isn't playing. Pretty sure that's all the stars. I could be wrong. They decided to sit some guys. After 3 quarters, the Cavs are winning. And they decided it's time to put the G Leaguers in. And the Cavs lose. Dun, dun, dun. The Cavs then decided, according to everybody, not me, because if you heard my previous episodes, I've touched base on my opinion on what happened. But the Cavs decided, they had this master plan that we're going to tank this game because we want the Orlando Magic. Even though they needed the Knicks to win, they had to get some help, but they got that help. And now our master plan to show these great Cavs fans our growth is to give us the easy Orlando Magic. We want the easiest matchup we can get. So that guarantees us we get to the second round. And we show growth. And our fans will be so excited that we made it to the second round. And they will be so happy that they'll want JB back. And they'll want to see this team hopefully next year make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Because that's the path we're on. They decided this. They said, hey, do not win that game against Charlotte. Because we want Orlando. And JB said, brilliant idea. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit a couple starters. And then come third quarter, I'm pulling everybody. And I'm putting Imani Bates out there to run point. Because Craig Porter Jr. got hurt. And guess what? I believe the Cavs were up like 10. They lost. Yes. Plan is executed perfectly. Thank you, JB. It's what we wanted. We're going to get the first round, basically a bye because the Orlando Magic trash. We're going to dominate them. And guess what? Through the first 2 games, what do? Dominated them. This plan is working out perfectly. Dominate the Magic. So what? We got to play Boston. Are we going to try to beat them? Absolutely. But guess what? If we lose, growth. We've shown growth. Bring it back another year. Let's run this back. But then Orlando said, not so fast. Took us to a game 7. And the Cavs won. Whew. Kobe in that front office was up there like, woo, boy. You cutting that way too close, JB. JB's like, my bad, I know. Cut it way too close, but guess what? We made it to the second round. Growth. Got to run it back, right? I mean, first year, playing tournament. Last year, lost in the first round to the Knicks. Now this year, second round exit. We're growing. So the Cavs play Boston. They end up losing Donovan. They put up a fight. Got to give the players credit. Without Jared, without Donovan, Karius got hurt last game. Marcus Morris did his best Joe Flacco impersonation in game 5, and they fell short and they lost. And the Cavs walked in the locker room, was like, dang, man, if only we were healthy. And JB's like, but don't worry, guys. We showed growth. He went to Kobe and said, hey, Kobe, we nailed that plan. That master plan you guys came up with, nailed it. But now I sit May 21st, and I'm hearing all the Cavs fans. Now, look, I can't make a case for him to keep his job. And I would probably say he needs to be fired. But based on the narrative that they had this master plan and JB followed through, can you really fire him? I mean, he did what the front office wanted him to do. I'm pretty sure Dan had a say in this too. So Dan, down to JB, wanted them to do this master plan of tanking and getting the magic to show growth. And now you're going to fire him? That's that. Man, that's pretty messed up. If I'm a coach, I don't know if I want to go to Cleveland. You're telling me they did exactly what you said to do, and then you fired them when you were showing growth, taking steps? Now, I know what the people will say that totally disagree with what I'm saying, and I could be wrong. They'll go, well, even before that Orlando or the Charlotte game, the Hornet game, JB should have been fired. And you know what? You might be right. Because coming into the season, granted, I was going to give him an opportunity because they had a better roster with three-point shooting. They were lacking that. Turns out they still are lacking that. But we thought signing George Niang, Max Strus, we got some shooters. So I want to see what JB can do. Didn't look so hot. But then something happened. He went from being on the hot seat to Darius and Evan getting hurt. Granted, the schedule, they played some weaker teams. But in 20 games, the Cavs went 18-2. And I heard some Cavs fans, some national people, and definitely local media talking about Coach of the Year, JB Bickerstaff. So granted, he's got flaws. He definitely does. But at one point in this season, 18-2 run is a good run. I don't care who you play. And then they went on the All-Star break. And I remember saying, man, I wish that All-Star break wasn't right now. And then what happened after the All-Star break? Donovan gets banged up. And then that rocky road, that roller coaster starts. And the Cavs struggle. And when you look back at the end of the season, when that game 82 was approaching, you look back and you go, man, why did we struggle so much in the second half? Now, is this the only reason? No, there's other reasons. But a big part of why we struggled is because our superstar was, dare I say, hurt. So maybe I could be reaching. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the Cavs said to ourselves, look, game 82, home court through the first round locked up. If we win this game, great. If we lose this game, I don't care. We're going to sit these guys. These guys that are playing are only playing 3 quarters. I don't want anyone else getting hurt. I want to be as healthy as I can be for this playoff run. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm just being optimistic. Everyone said, oh, they were scared of Philly. Did they want to match up with Philly? Probably not. Look, we don't have LeBron James anymore. Some of us want him back. Some of us don't. But I feel like we're kind of fanning like we have LeBron. We're saying, bring on anybody. Now, maybe you call that ducking. I call that, hey, Once again, I didn't take game 82. I sat my guys for health reasons. And if it works out, we don't play Philly, great. We don't play Philly. At the end of the season, I know there wasn't a change in opponents for the Browns, but I'm pretty sure the Browns had a lot of injuries in their football season. So many injuries that they had 4 at the time, quarterback start. Now, that last game of the season, the Browns went to get ready for that last game, and they had a choice. Joe Flacco can wheel him out there. That old 38, whatever, 39-year-old, I don't even know how old he is. He's an old man, needless to say. We can have him go out there. Or we can rest up for the playoffs. And Joe Flacco wasn't the only guy that didn't play. There was plenty of other guys. Now, everyone's going to say, well, hold up, pump the brakes. Football's way tougher. It is. But there's still injuries. And you go out and you play basketball, there's a chance you could get hurt. Just like when you go out and play football. So just because one's tougher than the other, don't matter. They decided to sit Joe Flacco. They even decided to sit Joe Flacco and pay him his bonus he would get if he would play that game. So the Browns sat some starters to rest up for the playoffs. Now, did it change who they play? I don't think it did. So that's what they'll say to me too is, well, it didn't matter. They still were going to play the same opponent. Still going to play Houston. Maybe they were. But the point is, you had two teams that fought through injuries to get into the last game of the season with a playoff spot locked up. So they both decided, why is there a little fly down here? They both decided we're going to sit our starters because we've been fighting injuries all year. So maybe that's what the Cavs did. Did it turn out that, hey, they get Orlando? Because here's a funny thing about that. Let's say the Cavs won that game and they didn't pull their starters or the guys that were playing. Oh, and by the way, the Browns lost that game too, 31-14 to the Bengals. But let's just say the Cavs didn't pull their guys and that 10-point lead they kept and they won. Nobody gets hurt. And they play Milwaukee. What if the Cavs lose? Okay? What is everybody saying? The same thing they're saying right now. Fire JB. We need to break up the two duos we have. We got Darius and Donovan, and we got Jarrett and Evan. And I'm going to get on those two in a minute. But that's what they would be saying. So either way, worst case scenario, if Kobe Altman in the front office said, this is our plan to get to the second round. Either way, if we lose in the first round, fire JB, break up 2 of the 4. If we make it to the second round and we show growth, fire JB. Now, here's my rebuttal to my own theory. They haven't fired JB yet. If they keep JB, I have to lean towards maybe this was a master plan. Because to me, then that's just showing that, hey, JB, we're going to thank you for following our master plan. And we're going to keep you here and coach this team. So the 12 minutes of me rambling on about my theory and tanking could be completely thrown out the window. And that's why it's a working theory. But what is not a working theory is the Cavs have a fit problem. Not fit like I'm not. A roster fit problem. You have Darius Garland, for whatever reason, cannot play with Donovan Mitchell. And you have Evan Mobley, for whatever reason, offensively, cannot flourish. I shouldn't say for whatever reason, because I think I know why. his offensive game, he turns into Chris Bosh in Miami with Jared Allen on the floor. That's my comparison for Evan Mobley right now. It's Chris Bosh in Miami. You put him in the corner and you kick it to him, and if he doesn't shoot it, which he's not confident in a shot, if he doesn't shoot it, you're now asking him to create. That's not what Evan does. As great as Jared is as rebounding and defense, and he can give you some points, he clogs it up. So they need to move on from Jared. And they need to put Evan at the 5. And we got to see a glimpse of that in the last 2 games against Boston. Really that last game in Boston. Evan was at the 5. They had 4 shooters around him. And when you do that, you're not asking Evan to be a shooter. Can he? Sure. But that's not something that he is feeling he needs to do. When he's playing the 4 with Jared out there, he feels like I need to shoot this jump shot, this 3. And that's where it's almost like he gets, I don't want to say confused. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's like he gets lost offensively because Jared's down there. I'm out here, but I'm not comfortable out here. Should his jump shot be a little more consistent and should he be more comfortable? Absolutely. But if you put him at the 4, or at the 5, you have time for that confidence and growth to happen. You don't need it to happen. You put him at the 5 against Boston last game. Where's his numbers at? Oh, 33 and 4 assists. Now you like more rebounds. 33 points. Pretty much, he carried your team offensively. Darius Garland 11 points. Now on the Darius. Now you say, well, Donovan's not out there. Why isn't Darius flourishing? I think with Donovan's out there, it's like Darius, I think it's all mental with him. I think he lost his confidence. There was 2 things with Evan and Darius. I remember hearing Donovan was preaching to them, beating in their heads. With Darius, it was believe in yourself. We believe in you. It's like at some point, he lost the belief in himself. I don't know if it's because Donovan's out there, what it is, but he completely lost it. That game 5, Donovan's not out there, and he had 11 points in 44 minutes. He shot 4 of 17, 0 of 4 from the 3-point. That's a guy you gave a max contract to. That's a guy who the highest paid Cavalier ever. Higher than the guy that got you that banner up there. Anybody that was on the team. Like, Darius, we need more out of you. 11 points? I'm not saying you got to put up 40. And I'm not saying strictly because of that contract, because I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but that's with the whole Deshaun thing, and he's making $240 million or whatever his contract is. He's got to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. No, he doesn't. Team is talented enough. We just need better. And when the game's on the line, which he showed against Baltimore, step up and make a play. But I don't want to get on that. So for whatever reason, Darius mentally just isn't there. And at some point in his playoffs and off season so far, I went from thinking that Donovan's gone to he's staying. So if you bring Donovan back, which that's your number 1 priority, and they should bring him back, and I think he's going to come back. Darius supposedly has come out, and his camp has said, you bring Donovan back, we want traded. Because I think as much as both of them admire each other, brothers, the whole 9, there was a picture of them hugging, like they're boys. But I think they both realize our games don't fit. We're both two small, dominant guards that need the ball. Ball dominant, I should say. That need the ball. Can they both dish? Of course. And at some point, Darius lost, whether it was getting hit in the jaw, breaking his jaw, if he lost his confidence to go into the hole as much. I mean, he was going to the hole. So I don't know if that's necessarily it. But somewhere he lost that confidence playing with Donovan. So those two are going to have to go. And it looks like Darius is going to be the one to go. And Jared and Evan, I think they're ready to unlock Evan at the 5. And I think it's him at the 5 with 4 shooters. And I think Jared's going to get traded. And I think you're going to see more of what you saw in game 5 from Evan. I think he was being aggressive. If he can keep the aggressive part of his game going, because I think that's part of him that's not consistent. So if he can stay consistently aggressive, I think you'll see more stat lines, hopefully a little more rebounds like you did in game 5. You will also see him get bodied unless he puts some massive weight on, bulks up. But you will see him get bodied. But that's going to be a trade-off you're going to have to deal with. Go sign up, if you want to keep Tristan, or go get a big body center that if Evan gets in foul trouble, or you can throw out there to deal with a bigger guy. Because you're still going to have some size. So whatever 4 they decide to go try and get, he needs to be able to shoot, and he needs to have some size on him. And then you're going to have to go get a 3. I feel like you're going to have Donovan and Max in the backcourt. And you're going to have to go get, I don't know if Brandon Ingram, his name keeps getting thrown out there. The problem with Ingram that I would have, my issues would be if he can stay healthy. I don't think he's played 82 games. Maybe back in his Lakers day, I think he played 79 1 year in LA. So there's a good chance you might be missing him come playoffs. Maybe you go get a Miles Bridges type, but they're going to have to break this up. This fit, I think, is the biggest issue because, like I said, with the 20-game span, granted, it was Jared and Donovan that were playing and not Donovan and Evan that you're hoping is going to be the future. But it was one big with shooters. And that's the route you're going to have to go. Maybe you bring a point guard in, but he has to be able to shoot. But he doesn't need to be the second option. The second option on this team for right now needs to be Evan, but eventually Donovan has to be the second option. Evan needs to become the Kevin Garnett that people want. And I think you'll see more of that without a Jared Allen on the floor. You'll see him pick and pop. You'll see on the elbow him be able to hit that jump shot. And occasionally, if he's left alone on the 3, he can hit it. I think that's what you're going to see out of Evan if you get rid of Jared. So go get a 3, and you got to get a 4. JB is a problem. But who are you going to get? I mean, you want to go the veteran route? You got the Nate McMillan. I don't know why I can't say his name. Nate McMillan. You know what I'm talking about. Got him out there. You got a couple veteran coaches you could possibly go get to maybe take them over the next step. Mark Jackson. I don't know if I go get Mark Jackson, Doc Rivers. I don't want none of Doc Rivers. You're gonna take a step back with Doc. But yeah, my working theory, if JB gets fired, I feel like I'm leaning heavy on that because once again, to me, and maybe I'm missing stuff. Maybe you can correct my theory. I understand JB was on the hot seat. Some may even say he could have been fired before it got to game 82. And that's fair. But all I'm saying is this master plan of tanking in either scenario, you get knocked out in the first round, you don't tank, you get knocked out in the first round, you're talking about firing your coach and possibly moving Darius and Jared. You make it to the second round, trying to tank. You get that first round matchup where you can win, show growth. And if you're not keeping your coach, what kind of growth are you showing? You're firing your coach. What do you mean you're growing? Obviously, you plateaued and you need to make a change. So the plan doesn't make sense. The plan was to get to the second round, easy first round matchup, get to the second round and sell growth. But you're firing your coach and you're trading 2 of your 4 stars, your starters. You're not, there's no, hey, we're going to take this core and we're going to take this coach and we're going to make the next step. You're shaking up the roster and moving on from your coach. So how is that a master plan? That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Please enlighten me. Now, like I said, if they keep JB, then okay. You can come at me with your loser mentality. They're tanking and I'll go. I mean, they are keeping JB. I can't. What other reason why would they keep him? He was on the hot seat at the beginning of the year, had a nice little 20-game run, got back on the hot seat, and then they tanked. So, yeah, he should have been fired, but they're keeping him. Why? Because they're trying to push the growth. Even though that growth, that 4 core, 2 of them are going to be gone. There's no way they're running this back. If they run this back, everybody should be fired. So you're moving on from your coach and 2 of your 4 starters. So where's the master plan to show growth? So it doesn't make sense to me. They fired JB. To me, that stamps the, hey, we didn't try to tank. We were resting guys and we lost. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe let me go ahead and see if I can get an update. See if there's any updates about if JB got fired, because there's a lot of rumblings today on the 21st that he was going to get fired. I don't see any. There's nothing. No notifications. So maybe once they're supposed to, Kobe's supposed to speak next couple of days into the week. Maybe we'll get some more info. Doubt it, but maybe we will. And what's going on with JB? They plan on moving on from him, or if they're going to keep him. And then maybe my working theory will be my theory. Because like I said, if they fire JB, my theory is there was no tanking. If they keep JB, I'll hop on the train of tanking, because what other reason? Why would they keep him? The only reason they keep him is they're trying to sell the growth. And how they sold the growth was making it to the second round. So I'm all for the tanking. But if they fire him, which a lot of fans want, I'm all off the tanking, even more than I was a couple episodes when I did not agree with it. So we'll see. And if some news comes out, maybe I'll hop on here and do a shorter episode, because this is pushing a half hour. So yeah, I'll get on here and either say, ha, told you my theory was right, or go all aboard the tank train because JB's still here and I don't know why. And I don't hope that's the case, because I think they do need to move on from JB. And I think Darius and Jared, as much as I enjoyed watching them play, they seemed like great guys. I remember I was actually a partial Cavs season ticket holder, Darius rookie year. It was Dylan Windler, I think, was, yeah, that bust. And Kevin Porter Jr. I think, is it Kevin Porter? Yeah, not Craig. Kevin, yeah. They had a little Q&A up at the arena. So you kind of got to know Darius. So You know, he's an all-star. He got paid handsomely. And enjoyed watching him play, but he just doesn't fit. And when they traded for Donovan, we ain't got time to wait around. Evan, we ain't got time to wait around. Like, this is what I was trying to say. I've said to people before about when LeBron came back and they traded Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. Is LeBron didn't have time to wait on Andrew Wiggins to become what he became. I got a window here. Now, LeBron's window is a little bigger because he's still playing at 39 a year 21. But Donovan's got a window. Donovan wants to win. I don't have time to wait on Darius to figure out why he can't play with me. I ain't got time for Evan to be standing in the corner. If he's going to be the guy, which everyone said, if the Cavs are going to win, Evan's got to be the guy. Jarrett's blocking that. Jarrett's playing that great defense he plays, but he's playing it on Evan in his game, his offensive game. So you got to move on. So it was fun, but we hit a limit here with you. And so hopefully Kobe can go out, make some good moves, get some players, maybe even get some picks, start to replenish what they lost in a Donovan trade. And they can find the right coach. And Eastern Conference Finals start tonight. Hopefully next year the Cavs are playing in it. Hopefully Evan's balling, Donovan, got our squad, got the coach. And I can make some episodes about how excited I am for the Cavs. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end that episode here. And who knows, episode 5 might be coming sooner rather than later. But you never know with me. I'm so random. I get on here to rant. And now I'm speaking with my hands too much. So, who knows? Brown season's creeping up on us. Guardians are balling. Good for the Guardians. Maybe I'll get on here and talk some Guardians. And there's a myth about with me that I think a couple people have that I'm waiting for them to bring up. And when they do, I'll probably come on here and vent. So until next time, I'll see ya. Maybe. Who knows?